There is a peculiar truth about extreme situations. They do not create character, they reveal it. Snowstorms, power outages, emergencies, and shared inconveniences have a way of stripping away social pleasantries and exposing the raw mechanics of how people believe the world should work. Who is responsible? Who should sacrifice? Who is allowed to benefit from effort they did not contribute to? This is not merely a story about parking or snow. It is a story about labor, entitlement, boundaries, and the unspoken rules of shared spaces. It asks a deceptively simple question. When you clear a path through chaos with your own hands, does that path belong to everyone or only to the person who made it? Our protagonist has lived in this building for 6 years. For all that time, snow removal has been a non-issue. It simply happened. Plows came, paths appeared. Life went on. The building was sold the previous spring, and with the new owner came a new philosophy, one that apparently values snow accumulation as a lifestyle choice. The landlord did not plow. He did not shovel. He did nothing. Because of 6 years of functional normalcy, our protagonist did not own a shovel. Why would he? One does not typically buy emergency equipment for problems that have never existed. But then the storm came. 15 inches of snow. Enough to paralyze movement, to freeze solid if left untouched, to turn minor inconvenience into long-term immobility. Faced with this reality, our protagonist did not complain. He did not wait. He walked to the store, bought a shovel, and dug his car out himself. Not just his car, but a wide car-sized path across the parking lot so he could actually leave. This was not minimal effort. This was labor. Physical, time-consuming, exhausting labor. The path he shoveled was not decorative. It was not symbolic. It was functional infrastructure. Without it, no car was going anywhere. He completed his work, left to run errands, and returned roughly an hour later. And when he came back, something had changed. A car was parked in his usual spot, not maliciously, not strategically, but undeniably, unmistakably, in the only space that existed because of his work. There is an important detail here. There is no assigned parking in this lot. But there is routine. People park in the same spots. Patterns are established. And in a 3-unit building, those patterns are obvious. The only reason that spot existed was because one person had shoveled it. That person was now displaced. Our protagonist faced a choice. Dig another space, effectively repeating hours of work for someone else's convenience, or refuse. He chose refusal. He parked behind the car, blocking it. He had a meeting in 15 minutes. He did not have time, patience, or motivation to play detective and knock on doors. During the meeting, someone began pounding on his door, aggressively, repeatedly. Every 5 to 10 minutes, he ignored it. Not out of cruelty, but necessity. He was in a meeting. When it ended, he opened the door to find a red-faced woman, furious, demanding that he move his F** in car and asking how he could possibly think his parking was acceptable. She went on about how long she had been waiting. He explained calmly that he had shoveled the spot himself and had nowhere else to park. This explanation did not diffuse the situation. It inflamed it. As he went outside to move his car, another neighbor appeared, the person the woman was apparently visiting. Arms crossed, posture aggressive, he joined the attack. He accused our protagonist of being inconsiderate, of not asking when they needed to leave so they could decide who should park behind who. This framing is fascinating. It assumes a shared planning process that never existed and places responsibility on the one person who acted. Our protagonist responded internally with disbelief. If the neighbor knew a guest was coming, why hadn't he shoveled a spot for her? The neighbor deflected, pointing out that there is no assigned parking and that he doesn't own a shovel. This admission is crucial. The neighbor benefited from the labor without contributing to it and felt entitled to do so. The argument dragged on. Words were exchanged. The neighbor concluded the interaction with a parting shot. He used to like our protagonist because he was quiet and respectful, but now he knows his true colors. This is a familiar tactic. When someone enforces a boundary, they are recast as hostile. Compliance is mistaken for kindness. Silence is mistaken for agreement. Now there is bad blood, tension where there was none before. Our protagonist genuinely believes he was in the right, but the social consequences remain. The parking lot is gravel. There is street parking out front with 2-hour visitor spots. The woman was not trapped indefinitely. She could have shoveled. The neighbor could have shoveled. The path could have been widened. Options existed. None were taken. Instead, outrage was directed at the one person who had already done the work. Later reflection led our protagonist to an important realization. She could have dug herself a way out. The path only blocked her because it was 1 lane wide. She could have widened it. She could have created a turnaround. The same effort he expended to leave could have been expended by her to escape. This is the heart of the case. When someone creates value through effort, does that value automatically become communal? Or is there an expectation of reciprocity? Shared spaces require cooperation, but cooperation does not mean one person does all the work while others reap the benefits and complain about inconvenience. Blocking a car is not kind, it is not generous. But it is also not inherently immoral. It is a response to a failure of shared responsibility. Our protagonist did not create the problem, the landlord did. The neighbors compounded it by opting out of effort while opting in to benefit. Some would argue that blocking a car is always wrong, regardless of context. Others would say that parking in a shovel spot you did not clear is the real offense. There are those who believe communication should have happened first, and those who believe that adults should recognize when they are benefiting unfairly from someone else as labor. Even our protagonist ultimately acknowledged that everyone involved behaved poorly. Snow amplifies frustration. Stress narrows empathy. But shared blame does not equal responsibility. After weighing the evidence, the I jury delivers its verdict, not the whole. Our protagonist's actions were reactive, not malicious. He did not create the unsafe conditions. He addressed them. He did not trap someone without options. He refused to donate additional unpaid labor for people who felt entitled to the results of his work. The neighbor's outrage was misplaced, and the guest's anger ignored the reality that effort solves problems faster than accusation. That said, this was a conflict shaped by a negligent landlord. When systems fail, individuals clash. But responsibility still matters. Eventually the snow will melt. The path will disappear. The parking lot will reset. But the lesson remains. Shared spaces only function when responsibility is shared. Boundaries are not hostility. Sometimes, drawing a line in the snow is the only way to remind people that effort matters. Now the judgment passes to you. Was this an act of selfishness or a reasonable response to entitlement? Declare your verdict below.